If you feel like Canada is basically crumbling down, at least socially or culturally, you're not alone in that thought. There is so much political outrage right now. Everybody is pissed off with Justin Trudeau. I even just went out for lunch today, and I was sitting next to somebody wearing a Justin Trudeau, Fidel Castro shirt, and then on the TV, there was a Pierre Poilievre campaign commercial. It's absolutely insane what's going on in the world right now in Canada. And it's all legitimate because everything that's happening right now in Canada, all the problems, the drug issues, the housing crisis, the groceries being expensive, gas being expensive, unaffordability across the board, the divisiveness that's happened, pretty much everything can be traced back to the government of Canada, or even more specifically, Justin Trudeau. Welcome back to another video, everybody. This is going to be a great one. Buckle up if you haven't yet already. I'd like to start off by asking you, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. Check to see if you're subscribed. It helps grow the channel. And if you want a matching sticker, have you seen me, Justin Trudeau, on a milk carton? The link for that is down in the description or the pinned comment below. This is by far my favorite sticker. And for those who have already purchased them, thank you. And I'd also like to tell people that I will probably be coming out with fridge magnets, because how can you not like this? It's totally awesome. All right, so we're going to start off by taking a look at the polls. Justin Trudeau is still at a standstill with his projections. You have the Conservative Party of Canada sitting at a projected 205 seats, where they only need 170 seats for a majority. And then when you scroll down to the odds of winning, Liberals are still at 1%. Womp, womp, womp. Conservatives at 99, obviously. And you still have the Conservatives at a estimated 93% likelihood of winning a majority government and only 7% likelihood of a minority government. So still to date, it is almost guaranteed that Justin Trudeau is pretty much going to lose, and the Conservatives will be in power through a majority or through a minority government. And every single time Justin Trudeau makes an appearance in person, every single time he opens his mouth, it's literally only more and more detrimental to himself, Justin Trudeau. You even have senators on X, formerly known as Twitter, that say Trudeau once said, "If the Senate serves a purpose at all, it is to act as a check on the extraordinary power of the Prime Minister and his office." Funny that after 8 years, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his cabinet ministers apply extraordinary powers on their Trudeau-appointed senators on Bill C-234, which is absolutely insane. And there's been a few of these types of tweets. Even Justin Trudeau himself is guilty from, like, I don't know, 2013 or 15 or 12 or 2009, 2008, whenever it was, many, many years ago, of saying very ridiculous things that are common, but it's only ridiculous because it's now hypocritical, where he said, we can't ever let the government, abuse their power, like those types of things. That's not verbatim, but those types of things. And look where Justin Trudeau is right now, abusing his power. So we're going to start off by watching a video of Pierre Poilievre announcing that the Conservatives are launching a campaign.
I have a mushroom farm in my riding that spends tens of thousands of dollars on carbon taxes alone. That has to go on the price of mushrooms that you buy at the grocery store. It forces more of our food production to be outsourced to foreign countries. Trudeau's carbon tax applied on the CO2 that a tomato farm in my riding has to release into its greenhouse, even though that CO2 doesn't even go into the atmosphere, it goes into the plant life, making Mexican tomatoes more affordable in my community than local tomatoes. How does that make sense to incentivize Canadians to buy tomatoes that have to be trucked and trained burning fossil fuels right across North America, rather than buying the more environmentally friendly tomato from their local producer? Common sense Conservatives have Bill C-234, which amazingly has passed the House of Commons against Justin Trudeau's opposition.
Oh, fantastic.
It has now made it to the Senate. And encouragingly, common sense Conservatives in the upper chamber have been able to work with some other senators to win some procedural votes on this bill, C 2, 3, 4. So the drama is now building because Trudeau has said he won't allow any more carve-outs to the carbon tax. We remember that just a few weeks ago, he carved out the tax on home heating for some people in regions where his support was plummeting and his caucus was revolting. But his environment minister says he will resign if there are any more carve-outs. He says, as long as I'm environment minister, there will be no carve-outs. That message to Justin Trudeau is very clear. He's going to have a cabinet resignation if this bill C-2, 3, 4 passes the Senate. So what's going to happen? Well, the pressure is on. And today, I announce that the Common Sense Conservatives are launching a full-on campaign to push for Liberal senators to allow the passage of C-234 to take the carbon tax off farmers and food. We now know that Justin Trudeau's top ministers have been frantically calling senators, begging them to block this bill. My message to Canadians is call your Liberal MP. Tell them to get Justin Trudeau out of the way. Tell them to call the PMO and have them announce that the Senate will be allowed to pass this bill. We can't have more taxes on our food when 2 million people are already forced to food banks and Canadians are forced to downgrade their diets. This is a common sense solution. It's a compassionate solution. And we pledge to work with all Canadians over the next weeks to mount a massive pressure campaign, just as we did on home heat, to take this tax off. So join with Common Sense Conservatives. Let's take the tax off so Canadians can feed their families.
Incredible. And this is why Pierre Poilievre is becoming increasingly more and more popular, is he provides a glimmer of hope. And I've made this reference in the past where Star Wars and Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope type of thing. And it just seems like we're living in that type of dark days where the Canadian government is like the empire and you need a glimmer of hope. And freedom fighters, people that like to criticize openly the government or protest the government to any capacity whatsoever, are viewed as what in Star Wars would be the would be the rebellion. And so it's insane what's going on here in Canada. I feel like we're at the peak, the very peak of political tension like we've never seen before. And it's really taking a massive toll. And we're going to see that in this next video here, where the one that happened a few days ago, Justin Trudeau was confronted at Vancouver restaurant, and there was very angry Canadians and protesters that were confronting him. But there's actually a new development from the legal side of things. Let's see what transpired.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
After a day of political events, Justin Trudeau dining on personal time Tuesday evening at Vidges.
Hands off my sister!
The PM security detail moving protesters back and getting Trudeau out. Prime Minister apologizing to other diners and then talking with owner Vikram Vidge before leaving.
There should be some expectation, not necessarily of absolute privacy, but some capacity to just to be on their own or be with friends.
And that's where a lot of people disagree. Like, Justin Trudeau has screwed over millions of people, and there's so much hatred. And from what we've seen publicly for pretty much the most part, I can't really think of an example off the top of my head where this hasn't occurred. It's all remained peaceful. Sure, chanting F Trudeau right to your face, like, yeah, that is a lot, and it can be intense to whatever that definition is to the individual's interpretation, but you haven't really seen it escalate beyond that. And I mean, Canadians pride themselves on being peaceful, of course.
The PM then went to cocktail bar Bangira at Main and Kiefer. Around 250 protesters showed up there as well, and so did around 100 police officers.
God.
EPD saying they had no advance notice. A scuffle broke out, and a police officer was hurt.
She was assaulted by a protester who we believe punched her in the face and attempted to gouge around her eyes.
Yakov Markowitz was arrested and charged. Another
I wouldn't mind seeing body cam footage or CCTV footage of that, because that right now, I mean, I'm putting my foot in my own mouth here, but that's actually the first instance where you've heard of this type of escalation at a protest surrounding Justin Trudeau. But I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? Have you actually seen the footage? I'd love to know.
Another protester was arrested for obstructing police. He was released without charge. Global News reached out to the groups who posted these videos online, but interview requests were turned down.
Our officers responded with the intention of controlling the crowd, managing the crowd, facilitating a peaceful protest. Certain people within that crowd engaged in unlawful behavior.
Trudeau, no stranger to protest, and this comes as his party continues to struggle in the polls. During the last election, right-wing truck convoy supporters hurled both insults and rocks.
Right-wing.
The challenge of being a centrist party in Canada.
Oh, that's not okay.
He's criticized from the right and he's criticized from the left.
The Vancouver police also noting there's been a surge of protests, both political and non-political this year, and the expectation is there will be more than 1,000 such events in 2023. Richard Zussman, Global News, Victoria.
That is absolutely insane. Just the speed at which the amount of protests are occurring. And it doesn't just end in the streets. It doesn't just end at restaurants where Justin Trudeau is. It actually has bled into the entertainment industry. We're going to take a look at a clip of a concert that I believe happened in Toronto at the Danforth Music Hall Theatre, where a chant of F. Trudeau began.
Question all throughout America, but I'm curious what some Canadians think about this question. Raise your hand if you are happy with your government.
And there it goes. Oh, that's absolutely insane, man. That people, you have even musicians in the entertainment industry like making remixes of F. Trudeau and really just adding more fuel to the fire. And it's just the thing now. People all around, when you're going to pay groceries, you're going to pay rent or a mortgage, or you're going to buy a new car or lease a car or whatever it is, when you're spending money in any capacity or preparing to spend money, you're looking at the bills several times. The day of going into a restaurant, not really looking at the price, just buying whatever you want and leaving. It seems like that has come and gone, where just affordability is everywhere. So it doesn't really matter what beliefs you have in terms of just the policies of the different opposition parties and the current Liberal government. When it comes time to actually paying for things, which is literally what every single person has to do. You have to buy things, you have to pay for things, or else you can't survive. People will inevitably be voting with their paychecks. We've seen now for 8 long years what the effects are of a Liberal government, where you even have them on the record saying the budget will balance themselves and blah, 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 blah. And the cycle has rinsed and repeated, and they keep putting us into a further deficit. And it doesn't seem like they actually have a common sense plan, or a plan, period, full stop, to fix this affordability issue. In fact, the Liberal government doubles down and they increase a carbon tax, which costs Canadians more money. So let's take a look at another video here of grocery store prices.
Food insecurity in Canada's largest city has reached a crisis point.
Food bank operators say they are at their breaking point.
More than 277,000 people visited a food bank in Toronto from April 2022 to March of this year. That's about 1 in 10 Torontonians.
Oh my God.
As many as the year before.
Going to the grocery store became a matter of surviving panic attacks, of looking at the cost and trying to extrapolate how I make it through a whole month.
Toronto has seen a 51% increase in food bank visits, the highest ever. More than 2.5 million visits so far this year, and that number is expected to exceed 3 million visits by the end of 2023. Many food bank clients today have jobs, but earn too little to keep up with the rising cost of food and housing.
1 in 4 food bank clients spend 100% of their income on housing, leaving nothing for food, clothing, or transportation.
Across the country, millions of families are struggling to put food on the table. Skyrocketing housing costs, food inflation, and stagnating wages are pushing more and more households into poverty.
Nearly 7 million Canadians struggled with hunger last year, some going without food for days.
Breakfast clubs are doing their best to make sure children get what's often called the most important meal of the day. The number of kids they are serving nationally has doubled in the last 4 years, and there is now a lengthy wait list.
Not worth the cost. That would make a great sticker or a fridge magnet. I'm sure that everybody is feeling the effects of this Liberal government. And if you are one of them, please let me know down in the comments in which specific areas of finances you're feeling the most pressure. And then finally, we have this last video about the carbon tax and how it's killing us all here in Canada.
5 premiers are turning up the heat on the federal government, demanding Ottawa remove the carbon tax from all forms of home heating. CTV's Colton Prail on the open letter and the provincial push for fairness.
It cost me $4,123. That's over $2,000 different.
Nicole Lindsay is bracing for winter and the eventual oil home heating bill that will cost her family thousands.
It's very expensive. It's hell, actually.
Last year, her heating bill doubled. This year, she expects it will be even higher, and the carbon tax rebate doesn't offer much comfort.
Sure, it's going to help the $250, but it's not like I can whoopee with that. I talked to many people. They don't know what they're going to do this year. And the carbon tax, it's killing us.
Now, 5 premiers have sent an open letter to the Prime Minister, repeating their calls to exempt all forms of home heating from the carbon tax.
All this is doing is just causing unfairness, making life less affordable, and really harming our most vulnerable as we get into the winter season.
In Canada, the majority of homes heated by oil are in PEI in Nova Scotia. But the main source relied on by 4 provinces is natural gas, where the cost per gigajoule is roughly 3 times cheaper. Critics counter any exemptions to the carbon tax only diminish Canada's ability to hit its environmental targets, while offering people little long-term financial support.
That's going to poke a big hole in the carbon tax's ability to incentivize switching from fossil fuel-based technologies to low carbon or zero carbon technologies.
The federal government has repeatedly said it's not considering any additional carve-outs to the carbon tax, even as political pressure mounts and experts question if the policy is still doing its job. Heather.
All right, Colton, thanks.
Absolutely insane what's going on here in Canada and in terms of affordability and how it's getting out of control. And winter is here. Home heating is inevitable. I know a lot of people are still suffering, even to this day, in terms of riding it out as long as they can before they actually turn their furnace on or their heating source. And it's just a very unfortunate situation that Canada is facing, and it's going to be years before it's actually fixed. But at least we all know that we're suffering together. If that's a glimmer of hope, then that might be the only glimmer of hope that we actually have here in Canada. This is where I'm going to end today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to encourage you guys to give a like and subscribe if you have not yet already, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.